this episode of Dear Van. And I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Chawe, but they prefer to go by Derek and Deandra. And so I'll get to them shortly. But um, as usual, go out there, reach out to your friends, let them know it's time to have another wonderful episode. Go ahead, share the page, and let's get going. So thanks so much for joining us, Derek and Deandra.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
Yeah, it's really awesome to have you. And so we get right in. Now, uh, personally, as I have shared with you backstage, I am so intrigued when I see people from different backgrounds. I mean, usually you wouldn't have to marry anyone from your family. So marriage is already between people from different backgrounds. But when you see people from way different cultures coming together and making marriage work, I am personally intrigued. Now, let me, push it right back to you. Let us know, how was the journey? How did it start? The butterfly moment. How did it all happen? We all ears.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I think the year was 2016 at that time. We
Okay.
both got a scholarship to study master in sports management in South Korea.
Okay.
So I'm from Indonesia and Derek is from Ghana. So in that class we are international people. There are like more than 21 people coming from different countries.
Okay.
And then Derek happened to be my classmate and we happened to sit together.
Oh.
Like, so I'm sitting here and Derek was next to me. At the time, I think it was just a casual conversation. Derek
Okay.
is very kind. That's
Yeah.
the thing, and he's not only kind to me but to everyone
Yeah.
in the classroom. So, and I think when we talk, we talk a lot, and then we found a common ground, which was sports. And at the
Okay.
time, Derek was into sport for development in
Hmm.
Ghana, and I was also working on a project of sports development in Indonesia. So that's how we share the ideas, and that's where we get close. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. So, who made the first move?
Well, I think I'll take it from here. I think it's a Ghanaian thing. We like to help.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you said, we had common grounds. I had worked on projects in the UK, and I noticed there were people on her Facebook page that I knew.
Oh
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah,
because she
yeah.
had worked on the UN, how do we call it, youth leadership program, and the organizers I had worked with before, doing
Okay.
projects with you in the UK. So I was like, how do you get to know this? She said, oh, during my internship, he was a blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, he's a friend. So that's how it started. So it was her and another guy from Pakistan. They were in that sport for development field. And we kind of like talked a lot, went out frequently. But I think, like I mentioned, it's a Ghanaian thing.
Yeah.
One time I was going to the class, she wasn't feeling very well, and
Yeah.
I decided to help give a helping. And after the class, I took her back, and I think it was something maybe she's not seen before.
Yeah.
In the Western, some part of Asia, they just look at you. Everybody are standing on the street. There was one time an old man fell in Korean. He said, "Muripi apayo," which means my knee hurts. So I just told her, let's go and help. So we just helped this man up. And this is who we are, most Ghanaians. I wouldn't say all Ghanaians. So
Yeah.
I think she found that to be very interesting. And
Okay.
yeah, we started um, going out, not frequently because as a cracker boys, we are always by the book. So I also went there with a mission. So once in a while, when I get the chance to go out, we just go out for coffee, and that's how we started. Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
I think I was the one who made an
yeah.
approach after that. After I was sick, and then Derek took care of me. I didn't know at that time Derek is just like that to everyone. So
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
like, wow, this man is very kind to me. So
Yeah.
I think that it was me who made the first approach to
Oh
him.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I made the first approach.
Okay. And Derek, did it take you much time to really catch the signals and Say yes to it.
No, I mean, you, it took some time, honestly,
Okay.
because we are classmates, one, and then the class started getting suspicious about it, and they know me to be too serious with the books, because I,
Yeah.
I was really I really wanted to do the PhD, so I wasn't there for any other thing. But I understood, and when I'm with her, it's different. But when we are in the class, it's also different. Like just try to lay low.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I think there's also one thing that really attracted me in the first time. It's not only that he was very kind, but during our class, he always asked a very controversial question. Not a
Yeah.
controversial, but more like a critical question,
Yeah.
which is based on the theory. And sometimes and not sometimes, all the times, his question was making so much sense to the
Yeah.
class. So
Yeah.
it really light up the class dynamic. So that's what makes me also interested. Wow, this man is very smart.
I
And
just
Right.
love sports. That's it. Oh, no,
Exactly.
no, I just love sports. Just
Yeah.
yeah, and additionally, he's also very kind. What kind of man
Yeah.
is this? Like, I've never seen someone like this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I would say knowing Derek, these
yeah.
are attributes we saw in him as well years back. I mean, about 20 years back. So
Mhm.
yeah, very kind guy and smart as well.
Yeah.
So I guess when you saw that combination, you went like, oh no, this must be too good to be true, right?
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
Wow. Okay. Now fast forward to when you decided to settle down. Um, how did you go about the possible cultural obstacles? So, for example, when it comes to marriage, people from Indonesia might have ways that they go about it. When it comes to Ghanaians, they would have ways that they go about it. How did you reconcile that? And what did you decide to go with?
Yeah, I think first question is this: to decide to settle, sometimes look at your past experiences.
Right.
I've not really gone out that much, but I think I've had about two or three girlfriends,
Okay.
and I like to take in a lot of nonsense in this past relationship. I don't really get bored. I don't fight. I don't argue because I don't see the need for it.
Okay.
Sometimes some people take advantage of you, but I always watch, and you know exactly who is ready for you to marry. And I've always been down to earth.
Yeah.
I was in the UK before I came back to Ghana, sold everything I came with, and lived in a cubicle.
Well.
Yeah, for like 5 to 6 years,
Mhm.
and it's been like that. So with that past relationships and what I learned from it when I met her, I knew it was different.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was different. So and once I saw that, I'm like, no, I have to settle with this lady. So
Okay.
I just told her point blank, I want to marry you. It was just, and I met her mom, and I told her mom the same thing. Like it was strange. Like I
Yeah.
just, I just somebody was a sharpshooter. I just went
Yeah.
straight. I want to marry your daughter. I want to marry you. And her mom is quite strict, so she was surprised that I was able to tell her that. Yeah. And on the cultural bit,
Yeah.
Indonesia and Ghana share a lot of
Yeah,
cultural similarities.
that's true.
Oh,
I
okay.
would say like 80%, a lot.
Wow.
The family type, I went there, I had to meet a grandmother, I had to meet the uncle, I have to meet the mom, I have to meet the entire family.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like a sermon, and all of them were there, asked a lot of questions, and I answered the best way fit.
Okay.
And that's how it went. My mom, my father, they were very okay because they felt I was growing old.
Okay.
Yeah, they felt I was growing very old, so they were very excited that finally I decided to settle. So it was very easy on that side. But the cultural differences, once the grandmother says consented, I think the entire family supported in ways that I got good messages. So that's very true. That's very important. If they don't accept you, then you don't have to force it, because marriage is not between you and a woman; it's an entire family. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's how it went. Yeah.
Deandra, let me come to you. If your grandmother had said no, would it have really mattered?
Yeah, I think it will partly will affect the whole situation. So
Okay.
yeah, because my grandma is the eldest in the family. I think
Okay.
at that time my grandpa was passed away already, and then
Okay.
I only have my late grandma who is also now passed away
Yeah.
too. So
Oh, okay.
I think she's the one that convinced my mom, my uncles, and the whole family to accept Eric. So she was
Oh.
the one. But if my grandmother said no, then I think it will be different. Maybe I will be a rebel. I don't know.
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, fortunately, she said yes.
Yeah.
She's always been very kind. And then when she saw Derek, she told me like, oh, you know, I trust you with this man, so you can
Okay.
go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you can imagine everybody
Mhm.
is speaking Indonesian. You don't hear anything. And you just
Right.
that you have
Exactly.
the uncle, and then one other lady, the uncle's wife, who understands English. So they had to keep interpreting
Okay.
the language to me. And the grandmom did not say that much, but she hugged me and then gave me a peg here, and I understood.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Wow.
understood. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So going down into marriage again, when it comes to things like naming your children, which language to teach them, how does it work? I mean,
I feel like the first thing that we as a partner, as a husband and wife, have
yeah.
to do is to have a respect to each other. I really respect my husband, and then
Yeah.
I feel like my husband respect me a lot.
Right.
So I respect his decision. I also respect his culture
Yeah.
in which way we want to name our kids and stuff. So I trust him and he trusts me. So that's the
Right.
thing. So I think in terms of naming the kids, we decided to name her with the Indonesian and Ghanaian name.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
so but basically, I mean, the naming a child is not an easy thing.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
We pray over it. We
Hmm.
get a name, but we know that the first two names will not be so-called English names, will be Indonesian names, and then we follow. We have a culture and a tradition back home.
Yeah.
Then the local names, and then my surname, and that's how we agreed. But now that we are in Norway and they speak in Norwegian, and we've had pretty kind people,
Mhm.
Mm.
in areas that we've lived, and they are here. They have a third culture,
Yeah.
which is the Norwegian. So now we are kind of like trying to see if we always give four names. If
Oh. Okay.
maybe of the four names, one will probably be a Norwegian name because she
Okay.
likes it here. I have been moving for the past 10 to 15 years from country
Yeah.
to country, so we may probably stay here for a while or a long time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but Norway is a sweet place. I mean,
It is.
our last trip to Oslo is always on my mind. Very beautiful place, but like I mentioned, it's too expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but
and
people like you won't have problems if you have a good job. You won't have a problem. Yeah,
oh,
you can afford.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'll start this line of questioning with Deandra. Deandra, was there a pleasant surprise when you got with Derek in terms of culture? So, was there something you discovered in the Ghanaian culture that you were pleasantly surprised about?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a Ghanaian culture or I'm not sure if it's personal, but
Okay.
but Derek and I, we share the parenting role equally. It's
Okay.
not like it's always I'm doing the house chores, I am taking
Right.
care of the baby, I put the baby to sleep. It's not always me
Okay.
because Derek shares the workload too. Even though Derek is working, when he comes home, he's not like watching football, going out with friends. Yes, or he's not doing that. He's
Yeah.
taking care of our child. He thinks of me. Oh, you've been tired the whole day taking care of our child, so let me take care of our child. So I'm not sure if it's a culture in Ghana, but I've seen a lot of Ghanaian men do that too, because
Yeah.
our friends who are Ghanaians who lives in Norway, they do that too. So maybe it's part of Ghanaian culture. Derek cooks, he cleans the house,
Yeah.
he put the baby to sleep. That's something which I think is not really common in Indonesia, because
Mm.
in Indonesia, I'm not sure, I don't know how to say, but mostly it's a woman's job. Those kinds of things, cleaning the house, cooking is a woman's job in Indonesia.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
mm,
So before I would want to put Derek on the spot here, because as Deandra, as you were explaining,
yeah,
I was finding similarities again between Ghana and Indonesia.
Yeah.
Now
oh yeah,
let me put Derek on the spot. Derek, I think this is typical Derek, but not necessarily a
And then,
Ghanaian thing. What
mm,
do you think about it?
man, that's a good question, and I think most Guardians probably here wouldn't have done it. It's a Norwegian culture, you know. It's you have to share the parental roles. Yeah, but in my case, and where I grew up, and having a father who has two wives, you may say broken homes. Sometimes, when God give you wisdom, and the ability to stay back and then assess and reflect and be very intuitive, you would want a very good life for yourself, because you've experienced situations that you wouldn't want your kids to experience. So I
Right.
remember one of the things I told Deandra was, I want to get to a state where my daughter says she's hungry. I just point to the kitchen and she has a food,
Right.
And I also wanted to experience things I did not experience. I saw a lot of things in the neighborhood. I'm from La, and
Oh,
it's
right.
tough,
Yeah.
So these things are not very common there. You see a lot of women selling on the street, more women going to the market to sell. These things strike me a lot, and I want to do better. And if you're a man, I love my father so much, blessed memory. But if you're a man and you have two wives, it's hard in a place like Ghana where we come from. My mom has to do most of the things by herself.
Okay.
I was the firstborn. I have to cook for the others. I have to make sure they are good. And I remember I had a chance to stay in the UK, but I came back because I want to be a father figure for my sister and then two brothers.
Okay.
And everybody thought I was crazy, but I know the neighborhood. So these um, things have been with me to care, not only for my brothers, but also when I have a child, also care for my child, not to leave my wife to do everything by herself like my mom did, and just to try and then help. And as you know, doing the PhD, I also have a side job of managing athletes. It's very
Yeah.
tough, but it's
Okay.
not tougher than being at home and then helping your wife. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's a Ghanaian thing, but I would say that it's a virtue that you cultivate,
Yeah.
staying back and then seeing what is wrong and fixing it, in ways that you deem fit when you have the opportunity. Yeah.
Right. Right, absolutely. And I think this is worth emulating. I mean, so for those of us listening, yeah, I know people are surprised. Priscilla says very interesting. Timothy says, wow. Yeah, because it's not things that come to us naturally, especially in the Ghanaian setting. And you really have to make a concerted effort
Yeah.
to help your spouse out before
Yeah.
things will work. Yeah. So thanks, Derek, for being a sweet husband. I'm sure Deandra will agree. Yeah. Now, on the flip side, Derek, was there anything culturally that you were pleasantly surprised about when you got with Deandra?
And I've stayed in different places: UK,
Yeah.
South Africa, Gambia,
Yeah.
traveled. So nothing surprised me anymore. You
Oh.
know, I think I became more of like, I see different things and I kind of like liken them to people like my own upbringing, my worldview, you
Okay.
know. So I wasn't too surprised about this cultural stuff. I know they are there,
Yeah.
you know, but I wasn't too surprised. I was just ready to respond in a very positive and um, intelligent way, the best way I
Yeah.
can. Yeah. In Korea, there were some people who were shocked. Of course, there are some people who are very conventional, who would disagree, you know, in different ways. But I always say that things that I cannot control, I don't care. That's what I tell my wife, that I don't care about things that I cannot control. And in University of Ghana, I studied psychology. I know a lot of people wrote the exams to pass, but I was very much into this psychology thing and how it works. So
Okay.
I try to take the chaff away to just focus. Yeah. I did not really get any obstacle from her family, but of course, our friends, even people that I was so close with,
Yeah.
people that you think you are helping
Mm.
in a way, would just pass behind and then go and say, why are you with this guy? Somebody would go and see my Facebook like in 2008. Yeah, I was so skinny. You want to marry this guy? Are you serious? You want to go to that this guy?
Wow.
Yeah, so you would definitely have people who will be a bit negative, but you know, my whole thing about it is I don't really care about those stuff. I always look forward. I want to have a very clear mindset and not to worry about these things. Yeah, and I know they don't have any stake in our relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. So let me go to another practical question. So I think the wows are just coming. I mean, people are very surprised, and especially coming from your background, Derek. It's very interesting to see how you really allowed that to shape you in a positive light. Now, the next question, when it comes to things like food, these are very practical questions I've been longing to ask.
I will leave that for
How
you.
do you? Yeah, okay.
You
So
know,
how do you deal with it? Yeah,
Indomie is very famous in Ghana, right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Indomie is Indonesian mee. Mee is noodle in Indonesian.
Me, it's
Yeah,
noodle
yeah.
in
So
Indonesian language.
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
So the Indo is India, and then the me in Indonesian
in
language means noodle.
so Indomie is like Indonesian noodles.
Yeah.
That's what.
Okay.
And
Guys, this is free education. Free education for you. Yeah, Diandra, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so I in Indonesia we have our like we people we really love Indomie. We eat Indomie almost every day,
Oh, okay.
right? And I think that's also happened in Ghana.
Yeah,
But
it's
Yeah, a lot
not
of
very
people.
common
Yeah.
in Ghana. Yeah.
yeah, but we do it accordingly. We do what is written there. For example, we it's you don't have to put the water on this Indomie, so you eat it without water. Uh,
What?
yeah. So for example, that's how it is. But Derek really likes to create some kinds of
But that,
experiment with this Indomie.
well, that's what we have in
Sometimes
Ghana. How we do it in Ghana. Apparently, they have it in different types and shapes, and the instructions are written on it. How you're
so
supposed to do it.
so
Wow.
so I like to do the Indomie accordingly, according to how I grew up with. And but Derek really
Okay.
likes to experiment, and then Derek will say, "Oh, in Ghana we don't care, we just eat the Indomie." And I was like, "No, you don't have to do that. You have to eat based on what is there.
Yeah.
You see, this is
Yeah.
a fried Indomie, so you don't have to put the water on it. You don't have to put the soup on it. So that's how it is about Indomie,
Yeah.
about the food. But I feel like a lot of Ghanaian food also, tastes the same like some Indonesian food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shito, I eat shito almost every day with everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mother-in-law, Derek's mom, come with. I think she bought us like 6 box of shito, and then I ate like just one very big box in one week because I really love spicy
Wow.
food. We
Okay.
Indonesians, we eat spicy food so much.
Okay.
that this shito is very, very nice for us. So I eat shito
Okay.
with everything. And then also I also cook some Indonesian food, which Derek said, oh, we have something like this in
Yeah.
Ghana.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think we share the same, like kind of like a taste in
Yeah.
terms of
Taste buds.
that
Yeah.
food.
Right.
And then the jollof rice.
That's
Okay.
right.
The jollof rice I think is the best food. I've never tasted some that kind of food, that food as delicious as jollof rice. And then
Yeah.
what's
Oh.
the stew,
Yeah, the tomato stews
the
and
tomato
the
stew, yeah.
different types. Yeah.
It is
Okay.
very, very nice, and
Yeah.
it tastes like something in Indonesia,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I cannot describe what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like it's
Man, sometimes you cook something. I said, this light soup. What name do you have for it? They have a different name for it.
yes.
Because I said,
Okay.
this is granite soup. What name do you have for it? It has different name for it. And then I think they have this Royco, Masako. I mean, most of these things are created from, they are manufactured in Indonesia. You know, this Knorr, these Dutch companies, they moved the manufacturing side to Indonesia. So
Okay.
most of the stuff that we take in Ghana are from there. So I'm like, you could see it tastes, it's pretty same. Like
Oh,
light, it's just the name that's different.
okay.
But most of their food are spicy, so maybe that may be the difference. But
Okay.
I've not some Ghanaians who come to visit me enjoy the food. I would like, my people are going to like this, and of
Yeah.
course they come, they finish it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. That's a good one. And then, as we wrap up, my next question is: sometimes when you communicating, right? And I experience this with my wife a lot. I can refer to something from our childhood, and she can easily get the message and
yeah.
know that, oh yeah, this is what you mean, and we can laugh about it, or something. Now, are there instances where you're trying to send a message across, but you feel like because the person doesn't really get the background of it, it doesn't send the message across well? Are there instances like that?
Yes, I think so.
I
But
think yeah, we have.
I think we have to be. For us,
Mhm.
we've met some few years ago. You know,
Okay.
but for those who have been together for a long time, like your case, is very different. You can get the cues very easily.
Mm,
But I think we have to be emotionally intelligent every day
mm,
and study each other because, in Ghana, we can be talking to somebody and then use the word you, but not necessarily the person.
Yeah.
And I know always get it differently. When I'm
oh,
referring to, or maybe I'm making an example, and I use you, she thinks her.
oh,
Yeah.
Then
okay, yeah,
and then she'll be like, no, I said, no, I'm not referring to you. It's just an example.
yeah, right, yeah,
So communication is very key. And I think at the earlier stages, once I was able to note that, then it solved a lot of confusion that may arise. But we also try to switch sometimes. We were in Korea, so we know some Korean language. We can communicate if we don't want people to hear. Now we're in Norway and we speak in Norwegian.
yeah,
So we try to communicate in ways that we understand sometimes if we are in a situation that we just want to communicate among ourselves or pass some information across. Yeah, but like I mentioned, you have to be um, ready to be in a cross-cultural relationship.
mm,
Um, you have to be very matured in the way you think and do things.
mm,
You also have to understand what the person's virtues and values are.
mm,
Otherwise, you'll be having clashes. I've seen a lot here in Norway,
okay,
and it's led to divorce. It's actually on the rise, actually,
mm,
among the cross-cultural marriages. I would say
right.
8 out of 10.
Wow,
Yes, that's very high. So
wow,
you
yeah,
have to be very matured and know that you're going to marry the right person, and the person ticks most of the boxes, and you also ticks most of the person's boxes.
yeah,
Otherwise, you'll be having problems. And this is Norway. You mess up, you the guy, you will be in trouble,
mm,
like it's always been. So um, it's always been like that. But for us, like I mentioned, you have to mature you have to be a matured person
right,
and solve things up. I've
wow,
we've never had any misunderstanding or quarrel whatsoever before. Never.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that one person don't get angry, but one
Yeah.
has to compromise and
Right.
always try and diffuse the situation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Deandra, if someone is watching you and feels like, okay, this is something I would want to consider, what would be your advice to that person?
Yeah, I think my advice will be that you have to whoever it is, either you are a man or a woman. If you see this and you want to have a partner coming from another cultural or another country, then
Mhm.
what you have to do first is to respect that person and see them as a human being. Don't see them as a handsome man. Don't see them as a beautiful woman. Yeah, I feel like don't see them as an American, don't see them as a
Yeah.
European, but see them as a human first.
Right.
The one that stands in front of me is a human that needs that deserve respect. That's the thing. And it is very important also to find a common ground where you both can share the ideas, and then fill that holes that makes you different. So that's the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really deep. You need to respect the person and see the person as human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to see the person as a human being
Yeah.
first. Don't see the person as a handsome or a beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's our story, and I
Okay.
know some of the guys over here respect me a lot in Norway if they are watching, and I hear a lot of stories, and I
Okay.
cannot share them. It's our story, but
Mm.
in the back room, I can tell you it's a little bit different and difficult. But like I always mention, like Deandra is mentioning, it has to be unconditional.
Mm.
Yeah, she's always have a battle with. I don't know what is beauty and handsome. I told her I need to understand the content of the person.
Right.
Then we can have a relationship. But to
Yeah.
tell me beauty, this is beautiful, this is her, I don't know. I cannot even define it. I don't know what it is.
Very subjective. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I don't
yeah.
know what it is. So,
Yeah.
and I think if you look at it that way, it helps. I like a tall person. What happens in the person becomes short for some reason.
yeah, because in the end we all will grow old and we will be
Yeah,
no longer handsome. We will be no longer
Exactly.
beautiful. But what's most important is your heart. If
yeah,
you are kind, then you will remain very kind.
yeah,
So
Exactly.
I think that's the best thing to approach
yeah,
cross-cultural marriage or
Wow.
international marriage. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
Wow.
Don't go for the person. Remember the person has a family. So always respect the family as well.
yeah.
I think it's very important. A lot of people go for the person, and when there's a problem, you don't know where to look at, or you don't even
Okay.
have a relationship with them. I think for most people, that's the challenge.
Right.
You have to know the family. I came back to Ghana, big family. We flew all the way to Indonesia,
Wow.
to show that because she's very good in heart. I'm telling you, and
Okay.
and and I have to go all the way there, show respect, and sit with them, tell them who I am, and this is my family, and that's how it works. So I just don't want to do it like the way others do it. You meet somebody and then hey, they have a
Yes.
go to the legal offices,
Yeah.
and I don't believe in that. I've stayed way too much abroad to understand that there are
Yeah.
problems with that.
Yeah.
So I took that. So I always say that. Hey, don't forget. I pick a plane from Ghana. I went back all the way to Ghana and flew all the way across the ocean.
And
Yeah.
and what I always say to him, like, don't forget, I leave my family in Indonesia. I leave my mom, my sister, my
I
brother in
flew all the way
Indonesia.
to
I,
Norway.
I flew all the way to Norway just to be with you. So
Oh. Wow. And that has introduced another perspective I think we'll talk about later on because I'm definitely going to get you guys back. There are so many things we've not discussed. Now, that also means that cross-cultural relationships or marriage could be expensive, right?
It could be.
it is
It
expensive.
could be. It could
It
Yeah.
be.
is in our case, it is
It
expensive.
could be. Yeah. I mean, but there are
Wow.
many people who use, you know, technology to connect with it. I want to.
Face to face?
Yes, because I've seen
Wow.
a lot in my parents' relationship, and
Mm,
I always say I don't want to have any second wife, and I don't want to
yeah,
go. So once I'm with you, we have to grow old together, like I always tell her.
yeah.
So I took that initiative to, go back to Ghana, pick family,
Wow.
flew to
You do?
Indonesia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it can be expensive if
Yeah,
depending on how
that's
you
true.
want it.
And then
Yeah.
in order to get me a visa here to Norway, it
Yeah,
was also cost a lot
yeah,
of
that
it,
that
it cost a lot
that
of
that
money
that
too.
will cost a
So
lot of money, but
yeah.
I'm working at the university, so they
Yeah.
cover it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what helps because, again, it's expensive, but it depends on what kind of work you are doing.
But
Wow.
Um,
it's worth. I
yeah,
mean, you will get to be with the one you love the
yeah,
most, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth actually. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, guys, sorry, I've been so engrossed in the conversation that I've ignored your messages. I'm so sorry about that. So, someone says that I have to try this kind of relationship.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Prissy says that I love Mr. and Mrs. Chawe's
Yeah,
message. Then Emmanuel says that I love you guys.
yeah, thank
So
you.
yeah, I'm really engrossed in it. It's so interesting. And guys, I promise you, I would get them back. Yeah, pretty soon to continue this conversation because I think it's loaded. It has a lot that we can learn from. So
Yeah.
thanks so much, Derek and Deandra. We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate your insights. And because I've said it to everyone, we're definitely going to get you guys back. And you can't say no because they heard me. Yeah, right.
I was
Okay.
speaking with somebody
So,
and I said, you see, Vanel contacted me. You know the respect we have for Vanel. I cannot say no.
we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate it. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely come knocking again. So thanks everyone for joining us. I know we went over time, but like I've told you, if the conversation is so nice, we can't afford to stay within time. I mean, I'm indisciplined, but yeah, that is it. So
It was great to have a conversation with you.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're very great too. You're a good person too. So yeah,
Oh,
nice to
thank
talk to
you.
you.
Thanks so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah. So thanks so much everyone for staying with us, and thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Chawe, for your time. And it's always remember that no two relationships are the same.
Yeah.
Thank you and cheers. It's bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Right.